For anyone interested in being able to more easily articulate your models, I want to show you how you can add some pins to this model that you can print on the model. I'm going to go ahead and combine these two together, and we're going to add some pins. Okay, so I designed some pins and I've included them in the downloads below the video. If you click on the tab that says course files, you'll see a zip for that. And once you download them, you want to put them here. I'll show you real quick. You want to put them right here. So under your documents folder, not your program files, but your documents folder, under Mesh Mixer, libraries, parts, and then this is where I have them. I mean, technically at this point, you can either put them in your My Parts folder, or what I did is I went in and I made a folder called Articulation. You can see I've got a variety of things. When we did our ortho models, we used this one. Well, this one here is for these pins. So once Mesh Mixer opens up, you can find those right here. Okay, so if you put them in My Parts, they'd be right there. But I put them in my articulation folders. These are all having to do with articulation. So if I grab these and drag them out here onto the side, you can see that we had that same thing happen again where they ended up massive. Again, still don't know why that happens, but let's just try again. That's normal. All right. So if you look at these, the way I have them set up, I've got this one center one with these two that come off of it. So I made this one a different color to indicate that that's the one that goes in the front. And so essentially what you would do is bring that right where you want it. Okay. And if you look here from the front, what I typically recommend, or what I should say what I do, is you can see that I'm centering this. You can make it perfectly centered if you wanted by using some align features, and I might show you that at the end of the video. But this is normally what I do, is I first align it. I'm going to center it by hitting C. I'm going to zoom in. And then once I do that, then I scale it using this guy here. I scale it until I'm going to just move it up just a hair. It's hard to move a hair. There. I'm going to scale this just up until it looks like I'm flush with my model. So I'm looking right here. See how it looks flush? Doesn't have to be perfect. Then what I do is I look again from the top, center this, and I'm looking to see, and then look from the bottom as well. I'm looking to see like the trajectory, like if this came through, would it hit my model? Like this one, maybe not so much. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. But then also with these, you can, once I've accepted them, they're all still connected together, which I kind of like them staying connected until this point. But I can grab one of these, hit T for transform, and I can change the angle because I want to go right into here. But notice, I mean, there's two models to be looking at. T. And so coming right into that model. So right now in the mandible everything looks good, but then we can go ahead and check in the maxilla. It'll come in and hit right there, and that's doable. Okay. If you want something, because we had bent it down, but we could compromise by pulling this way. And because these are all on the plane, and because they were designed that way, and I'm looking for kind of an even spacing right here. Let's flip it around. into there. That's not too bad. Okay. Clear selection. So now what I do is I turn on my select tool. I double click here. I type T, and then I pull that right into the model, and then I hit S, double click T, pull it into the model, S, double click T. You just keep doing the same thing. Notice when you hit S, it kind of accepts what you had. Oops, that did not double click. Cancel. Double click. Accept. All right. So now you can see it's coming into the model. Might be coming up just a little bit, but that's not going to cause us any problems. Okay, so we've got it, goes into the model there, goes into the model there. And then what I do is I choose the select, and I just click right through like this to capture part of these top ones, and type E as an elephant for expand to connected, and then Y to separate. And then I can take this model, hold down Shift, and I can combine these. Shortcut is Y. And then I can also come around here, hold down Shift, click on these, and combine those as well. Okay, and so right here, if I click on these, this is not necessary, but I selected all those, Control Shift G, and that just changes the face groups. All right, so now I've got these two different models, and if you look, we can drag that up, and you can see that now those are going to work. They're going to just go right into there. There is a little shoulder so that there's a hard stop. So you would just print these. Obviously, if this was the one printing, you'd print it with the build platform down here, and that should print quite nicely. And then you can articulate them. If you want to mount them on the articulator, you can put a little resin right around these pins, put them together, cure that resin, that way they're locked together, and then you can do your mounting. Or you can, stick some rubber bands right around these little arms right here, but to hold it together, and then go ahead and do your stuff. And then I'm going to just hide these two models, and we're going to come and make these ones visible. Okay, we're just going to run through that one more time. But I told you I'd show you one way, if you're interested, in being able to, let's get new ones out here, being able to more perfectly align them, at least in a vertical way. And so let's show you this. So I'm going to hit accept. To do this, I need to use some pivots, but before I can do the pivots, I need to combine these into one. And you'll see why in a second. And it's thinking. All right, so then I go into my create pivot, and I use what's called a bounding box, and I'm going to stick to the world frame for the coordinate frame, and we're going to drop a pivot here, and see how that's right in the center. Let's say drop pivot, and then we're going to click done, and then over here we also have that, and so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do create a pivot. It's going to put it right in the center of all those. We say drop pivot, and then we say done. And now what we can do is when we go to our transform, I didn't mean to do that. I meant N for align, or actually I'll just show you where it goes. Align right here. And I'm going to change this so it's just translate, and we're going to click on this one, but then hold down Shift and click on this one, and you can see that it puts it right there. And so we've aligned those, and then we're going to click on this one and go into transform, and the vertical height of it is this right here. I'm going to hold on Control C to copy it, cancel, go to this one, transform, and notice I have uniform scaling checked, and what that does is it makes it exactly the right size of the height of this. And we'll hit accept. Now we do the same thing that I showed you before. So you can transform these now along the X and the Z plane, and as long as you don't touch anything but these green ones, you're not going to mess anything up. So we can, you know, I can see my model down below, so you can kind of get a sense of where it's going to come in. And I think I'm going to pull these forward. I like to get this anterior one further away, and so I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. The other thing I'm going to show you is that if during your transform, you know, there we go, we'll put on the snapping there, and see that constrains your snapping, so that if you're, the second example I'm showing you how to be extra precise, and so I already showed you how to more precisely align things, and this makes it so you can measure how much each of those have changed. I'm going to hit escape and then back to transform, and this time I don't want that, and so we're going to put it right there. So you can see that's going to intersect here, that's going to intersect there. That should be just fine. So then we go S, double click, transform, pull into the model, and then S, double click, transform, pull into the model, S, double click, transform, right into the model. And going over like that, not a big deal. S, double click, transform, pull in, S, double click, transform, S, double click, transform. Alrighty. So, same idea here. I'm going to just change those to a different face group, and then I'm going to grab the top ones. Oh, never mind, I'm on my teeth right now, which is fine because I got to do those two. Notice I'm grabbing just the tops of the teeth here, and then expand to connected. We want to make sure that everything on the top gets selected and nothing on the bottom, which is perfect. So we're going to separate those. And then once they separate, we're going to click on our pins. There's a lot of triangles there, and that's why it takes a while. Click on our pins and expand Y to separate. I'm going to do select all right here, select Shift G to remove my face groups. And then we're going to take these and we say Y for combine. And then we grab these, select those, Y to combine. And now we've got pins again. And the difference with these pins is they're exactly lined up with everything, unlike the ones in the beginning. So, I mean, it's an extra step of using those pivots and the align tool, but once you're done, it actually works fairly nice. And then, you know, it always looks cool to do this. But you can see now that we've got this nice thing that's set to articulate. So hopefully that simplifies being able to use pins. And like I said, the files are in the download section, but you have to get them into that right place. I'll show you one more time where that is. You can see right here that go into your documents folder, And when you install Mesh Mixer, this Mesh Mixer folder automatically gets put there. Go into that folder and then into libraries and parts and default articulation. I see a lot of people mess up at this step right here. Make sure you're in a folder and that these three, don't just drag the whole zipped folder into here. Don't unzip it and drag the whole folder. Drag each of those three files into this folder and then everything works just fine. So if you have any questions, please let me know.